Thanks, everyone. Thanks for having me here, and thanks for attending. My name is Philippe Lin. I'm working with Trend Micro. Well, today, actually, I'm going to talk something about the CTI shenanigans. And so according to the presentation last session, I sadly found that our CTI is probably level 1. Ugh. OK, so just give everyone some feeling about what kind of CTI we have. We're actually only having something like 7 million entities and 10 million relationships. So our CTI system is not very big, not very small. It's just about somewhere in the middle. But if you look into the details, you probably find something very off the track. So first of all, we decided to build the CTI ourselves. We decided to opt OpenCTI and put it into our company daily routines. And we all know that it's super hard to acquire some intelligence from external free-form texts. So for example, this is a very brilliant report from Proofpoint, a really respected competitor of ours. And just by seeing that, you probably would notice there's something that's not so standard according to STIX 2.1. If I may, diplomatic is not STIX 2.1. Legislative, maybe they want to say parliament. That's not STIX 2.1. And there are some internal inconsistencies. For example, when they say there's nonprofit policy research organizations. Maybe that's a nonprofit, but then it says policy research organizations. So maybe that's a think tank, maybe, we don't know. And then global organizations dealing with economic affairs, maybe they want to say WTO and they don't want to name it. So there are such a huge gap that as a consumer of this data, we cannot precisely know which sector they are referring to. So that's one of the questions. And it's even harder to make a consistency across the vendors. So we have many external sources from many external vendors. And different vendors have different terminologies they like to use. And that changes over time. So for example, here, we got it very clear on TA 505 across the vendor. First, Talos, Sisto Talos, said it's targeting educational sector. That's brilliant. And Mandiant says it's targeting financial sectors. That's also brilliant. But then Mandiant says, oh, it's targeting marketing agency. So what is marketing agency? Is that a commercial entity? Or we all know it's public relation or something, or maybe that they are advertisers. But we cannot really know because it's not available from the text. And of course, we cannot just ask Mandiant. They would not tell us. And Proofpoint said TA 505 is targeting banks. Banks, OK. Banks are financial sector. And retail business, retail is retail. That's super good. But then they're targeting chain restaurants. So apparently, they don't want to name something like McDonald's, KFC, these kind of chain restaurant, but it's super hard. And so when a group like APT41 is attacking too many targets, everything is like a big melting pot of something. So we just cannot tell what they are attacking. For example, Mandiant says, oh, they are attacking gaming, healthcare, high-tech. Oh, it's all good, even though high-tech is not part of STIX 2.1. And Unit 42 saying they are attacking travelers, travel agencies, and even travelers. OK, so we don't have a sector called travelers. Yeah, that's, it's giving us a lot of problems consuming this kind of data. So we have built the system based on OpenCTI, and over 3 years, we got tons of problems. So actually, I'm a very technical person, and I would like to share what kind of problems we are facing. And maybe all of you would propose some way to solve it. So we're actually ingesting free-form text, the really brilliant threat reports publicly available from the internet. We have collected more than 50,000 external reports from 46 very well-known sources. And one of the most challenging things is that we have more than 50 threat researchers that does all the enrichment, edits the data, try to add in their own knowledge and whatever, their assessments into this whole CTI pot. And we are only creating hundreds of threat reports every year. So it's not that's not our real business, because our business is to protect our customers and not to provide the reports to our customers. And the system itself is based on ANSI. So we have ANSI predefined sectors, which doesn't really match with STIX 2.1. And we have countries, and sadly, the country I was originally from was not listed in ANSI. So the first thing we have to do is to add Taiwan into the map. Yeah, so there are all pros and cons. And here's a brief list of our main sources. Like alien votes, everybody knows, they're providing very good structured data, even if the structured data is not always complete, so we cannot just use, oh, this is a JSON from alien vote, ingest it, we're all good. No, we always have to add something. Twitter is messy. Intel 471, super good, but Intel 471 doesn't provide a sector, so we always have to extract the things our own. Microsoft's good, and also Cisco Talos, Mandiant, Kaspersky, Palo Alto, ESET, Proofpoint. They are all super good. Really, I'm really grateful. So we have designed such a thing, when we import something, when we want to import something. So first, we use a very simple model to make a judgment whether we want to ingest it or not. Because you know, something from, say, crabs on security is not always that interesting. And there's not always an IOC or intelligence or whatever inside. So we may want to get rid of them. And for those we are really interested, we throw it into Spacey and Flare. We got two kinds of natural language processing models. And right now we're trying to use large language model, but well, I submitted a talk to first main conference and got rejected, sadly. So, but maybe Aaron is going to tell us how he would solve this kind of problem in the next session. No spoiler. I'm not going to tell you anything I learned from him. OK. Then we decided to get rid of this RDF. Sorry if there's ontology or RDF guru in this room. That's just too complicated for now. And then we put the entities into OpenCTI, and that's it. On the right side, that's just whatever Amazon serverless functions that we have. So it's complicated. But why am I picking up sectors? So sectors is just a very low-hanging fruit. While it's not really that low, it's that low. So you can also try to solve the same problem with detection names, malware names, threat actor names, tools, products. They're just going to explode your head. So why are the sectors so complicated? First, everyone wants to avoid naming their customers. You name it, you lose them. So yeah, even we cannot say one of our customers, name such and such, got attacked. We don't want to lose the customer. And we want some sort of aggregations. So you have abstractions, then you can aggregate on a chart, on a periphery graph, and try to extract the threat intelligence out of it. And we all know that attacker groups has their own preferences, like, say, APT41 is just attacking everyone, while TA505 is more on financial sector, so anything that cannot cash out, they don't care. And one of the things is that our customer always asks, am I attacked? I have to tell them yes or no. Just one word. We cannot say, probably, then we lose the customer. Okay, then if everything is just right, fingers crossed, we will have a beautiful graph that tells us many things. So in a very ideal world, we have something like this. First, media sector is created by Honesty, so we just use that as is. They have a very good description. Even though the parent sectors, if you really know CTI, you know the parent sectors don't look right. And we have a list of intrusion sets that attack this sector, media outpost. So this is such an ideal world, but the world is not ideal. After 3 years of organic development by more than 50 threat researchers, we've got all this mess. We've got label misuse. People just create whatever sectors they want. They created locations, countries, platforms, organizations, and even critical industries. What the heck is critical industry? Every industry is critical, right? Otherwise, they're not here. And we have duplicated entries like education, education industries, academic, higher education. All of them are just the same thing. And why don't they just use a one term to express them all? But the fact is, they can't. Yeah, and we have all these misspellings like parser errors being fed by automated scripts. We know oil and gas, so we have gas, gas and oil, oil and oil and gas. So you really want to kick the butt of someone who did the thing, but you can't because in a very big company, we just don't know who did that. Okay, then we ended up with having something like 200 sectors with all this mess, while we know that there are actually only 34 sectors in STIX 2.1 or 16 sectors in CISA, US CISA. So we know we have to do something. However, when we are planning doing something, we found that we have to maintain the compatibility with other systems, so that makes things even more complicated. So here is a list of sectors that's being used by different vendors. I have to say sorry because Trend Micro is one of the vendors that used so many sectors, unregulated, and we just blame ourselves. Like everything that's compliant with STIX 2.1 is in boldface. And you see that there are so many that's not compliant. So we have to try to aggregate them. Not easy. What we really want is to have so for example, we have 2 reports in purple, and we have 1 intrusion set in red. And we want to see the relationship. So we know that these reports share some sectors in common. In this example, telecommunications, transportations, and education. Okay. That's very clear, but this is just an ideal world. So once again, with a canonicalized sectors, hopefully we want to answer customers' questions like, am I at risk? We want to see some correlations between different attacking groups. We want coherent and concise data. And we want to make APT researchers happy, because they're very important. Otherwise, there's no more data, no more intelligence inside. And we also want to fix the typo. So this is what we end up with having. We are trying to make a really big chart converging this 200-something messy sectors into either STIX 2.1 or CISA. And if you read carefully, they are not ideal at all. Because the semantics just doesn't map one to the other. Sometimes there's overlaps. Sometimes you just don't know. For example, okay. It's something like this. Yeah, you cannot read it. It's fine. I cannot read it either. And Even more, APT researchers want something like this. They want to add their own interests, like they want to know who's attacking some embassies, diplomatic entities. They want to know who's attacking dissidents, which is also a very often the target. They want to add media outposts, add political things, and information technology, just because we are working in information technology, so we want to promote ourselves, right? So, yeah. So once you add so many things into STIX 2.1, it's not compliant once again. So messy and messy, but we still have to face the fact that maybe we should hopefully propose an extension set to STIX 2.1 and make them a standard once again. And you want to decide the granularity. So the thing is, if you really think it over, maybe we should just stick on the text, the original text. Like, for example, a restaurant from Proofpoint, or a restaurant chain in America that's being written, that's being reported by Proofpoint. That should be something that we really keep in the system and postpone and defer the analysis later in a later stage. So that's what we see. If anyone is a functional programmer, we know that there's a lazy evaluation. We really hope that's the case, but sadly, no, I shouldn't say that. So we chose OpenCTI as our base platform, so we have aliases, but not ontology. And if there were ontology, we can probably make OpenCTI even better. But currently, that's still a dream. OK, so how to fix up the mess? Because we want to go down to details. Step 1, make a plan. Dump everything, dump the 200 sectors, along with their 6 IDs, standard IDs, and try to decide whether you want to merge, rename, remove, or whatever. Second, make an even more detailed plan. Because, well, it's really messy, because we want to call PyCTI the API. As in a big company, we just cannot say, oh, we want to access your Elasticsearch backend and do whatever tweak. If we screw things up, we are screwed, right? So we're calling PyCTI the API that keeps changing version, no ranting. So we want to make really detailed plans so that whenever anything goes south, we can fix it manually. Then, once again, we want to log everything. Just log every single action, how you delete things, how you add things, how you change the relationship, because in OpenCTI, all a relation is just an edge, and the edge has both like nodes on both ends, and you cannot just say, oh, I want to change this relationship and replace this end with some other node. We have to create a new relationship and revoke the old ones. And once you revoke it, it's still being displayed on the user interface, so you have to eventually delete them. And that causes so much risks. So that's why you want to log everything. And the traps. So you think you're very well planned, and you just hit return, and what happens? It happens that OpenCTI doesn't like very similar names, so once you update things like aerospace industry to aerospace, it says, oh, it's too similar. I don't want to take it. So this and that. In the end, we really have to fix a lot of things. And the story doesn't end here. So once again, let's step back and think about the story. First, we want to keep monitoring because there are so many silos and departments in a very big company. And our company is something like, we have something like 7,000 employees. So that causes some disaster. And we want to keep monitoring when things go wrong. We can fix it right away. And we know that we have to accept the fact that whenever people is using it, they are introducing more chaos into the system. So there has to be a way. And if you are very into data engineering, you might think, oh, so we just build a good pipeline and good data cleaning, right? That's ideal, just ideal. So how can we do better? We define a very clear pipeline, the ingestion pipeline, and we define all the sources from where we obtain the source, who is cleaning up the data, and data that's not compliant should be rejected and re-ingested. These are very ideal, and the world is not ideal once again. And we want to keep the original reports. You may think it should be a given, right? Whenever you crawl something from another vendor's website, you should have saved it. But in fact, it's not always the case. We have to crawl it over and over again. Hopefully, we didn't DOS the other vendors. And optimal, we just keep everything as is and use ontology and define a good ontology that has a hypernomy to defer this resolution to a later stage so that we can have a good of both sides. OK, so after 30 days, everything came back. This is a facepalm moment. After 30 days, someone upgraded OpenCTI to the latest version and accidentally turned on a pipeline that shouldn't be there, and everything's back. And I have to do this once again. So yeah, I hope I have returned several minutes for CTI. And if there's any questions, feel free. I believe the slides will be provided after the session, so you don't really have to take a picture.